high-risk investment. Trading on margin carries a high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Before deciding to trade, you should carefully consider your investment objectives, level of experience, and risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of all the risks associated with trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. Market opinions. Any opinions, news, research, analyses, prices, or other information contained on this video is provided as general market commentary and does not constitute investment advice. Master the Markets will not accept liability for any loss or damage, including without limitation to any loss of profit, which may arise directly or indirectly from use of or reliance on such information.
Hi traders, welcome to our live trading workshop. Today, this is Stuart Narpan here, founder of Master the Markets Illitrace Conference and Traders Open Day. And today we're going to be looking at how to spot smart money on the crypto charts. And I'm joined by my very good trader friend and CEO of Trade Guider, Gavin Holmes. Hi, Gavin.
True. How are you and is everyone? Nice to see you. Actually, yeah, I can see myself on the screen now. It's not so bad. Well, I broadcast usually out of a large conservatory, which is my trading room, and it's got all the screens and everything in there. But unfortunately, that doesn't seem to work too well. So I'm now sitting in my 17th century cottage front room in the middle of the New Forest. But you can probably see the beams above me. They're genuine. A long time ago, this cottage was built, and it's a pleasure to be with all of you. So we got a lot to show you today, Tira and myself, and we've been talking over the last few days about why we're going to look at cryptos, but also there's other things that I talked to Tira about earlier that we're going to be showing you today as well. So it's not just about cryptocurrency, but there's some really good setups on the euro, gold, which Tira and I have been discussing. So we're looking forward to being with you today. Back over to you, Tira.
Great. You know, we're already getting some questions already on some instruments that you guys want to take a look at. Nikhil, thanks for posting that. Even on YouTube, people watching us, or even on Zoom as well. If you've got any instruments that you want us to look at, we will definitely take a look at. Okay. So without further ado, let's carry on to some of the charts over here, and let's look in real time what they're doing and everything. So I'll start off with Bitcoin on the crypto side of things. So we will take a look at both side of things. One is we will take a look at from a larger time frame perspective and also from an intraday perspective as well. So I'll start to cover the larger time frame in terms of for longer position holding, and then we'll go on to the intraday side of things. Right, so let's carry on now. So on the weekly chart over here, so let me put also the VSA line. I used to have all this. Don't know why it keeps disappearing from the trading view.
It's the smart money trying to get rid of it.
All right. Let me see on the VSA light as well. We've got the relative volume at the bottom. Let me see.
Don't
yeah, there you go.
Don't have to worry too much because I've got it all as well. So yeah, there it is. You've got exactly
okay.
what I think. Yeah,
there you go. So on the weekly time frame, I think let me start from the highest one, right? So I know some of you over here are also big investors in terms of for longer term holding as well. Even me ourselves and me and Gavin also, we have investment portfolios as well. So in terms of Bitcoin, I've been holding it for more than now 4 or 5 years as well. But let's see from the highest time frame onwards. So we're taking a look at the monthly, because we got the tops and bottoms quantified over here, which is what the SMI does, right? So smart money indicator. We got the blue arrows for the bottom and the orange for the top, and then the dots is when the bottom and top gets confirmed. Those of you who want to learn more about that, check our 7 steps to CTP.com video series. Okay, I think that would be around here, over there. Okay, the boys will post that all out. Coming back into here, so we can see that this is right now in an uptrend phase 2, right? On Bitcoin, on the monthly, right? The top got confirmed over here. There's a nice lift off on the monthly over here, signaling that this is a strong potential bottom. It's not confirmed yet. When this month closes, this October month, is when the formulas will get calculated. If that sustains and it fulfills the formulas, we should hopefully see a blue dot appearing over here, which will then convert this potential bottom to a confirmed bottom. Then you will see a blue arrow and a blue dot happen. So let's see the premise for that. How is Bitcoin in terms of fundamental and technical towards that monthly potential bottom holding. So let's go and take a look on the weekly, on the lower time frames, and let's see how the smart money is behaving towards there. And like always, Gavin says, be like a detective, right? See how the price is moving towards that, where the smart money is coming, and whether the volume is supporting that move or not. Now, over here, I can see some clues already on the weekly over here. You can see that it was a little bit in a downtrend, but look at all the moves towards the downside, right? They were quite small, weren't they, right? So it's struggling to go on the downside. Volume is not really supporting it. But look here's the most important thing, and this is what Gavin always looks at as well, which is after it went down, you can see it attempted to come down again, right? And a little bit of a volume spike over here. But look, it didn't take out that last low. It didn't take out that last low. And then it sustained that bottom. Bottom got confirmed over here. And also the test came from the VSA light indicators also over here, right? So I can see that bottom over there, what we are looking over here, has got a strong chance of sustaining itself. In fact, that bottom over there that we are looking at correlates with our monthly price as well, 49,622. I'll go on to the monthly. Let me see if that's right. So that one there. So it's a strong case that 49,622 will hold for the month and highly probably confirm according to our formulas as well. Okay. So on the weekly, it is supporting that. Let's keep going lower on the lower time frames. On the daily time frame, you can see over here, again, it's showing, of course, more strength over here, took out the last high over here in that small downtrend. Another thing we should be covering in the annual summit as well, some of our research that we have done. Whenever you see a downtrend, but you see that the swings are quite very small, right, traders? If you see that, there's a high chance that it's just compressing, right, with low volume support to the downside, and highly probably that will turn around towards the higher time frame trends. Okay, so that's what the clue would be. And you can see that one of the places that it did the trend change when it took out that high, and then you go, now you got a phase one towards the upside. So all the time frames are aligning. Now, if you wanted to take lower time frame setups, because most of the higher time frames are all aligning to the upside direction, I would say highly probably take it to the upside. So even if you're trading on the 4-hour over here, you can see that whenever you get a top confirmation, and then you get a bottom confirmation over here, then you can start to take the trade towards the long side. Those of you who missed that on the lower time frame, wait for the top to confirm, and then wait for the blue dot to come. Just take it in alignment with your higher time frames. You can also start to see there's a no demand signal coming here as well, because it's overextending from the bottom. And as we always say, nothing can go in a straight line. It will start to revert back and make its top. On the 1 hour, let me see as well. What else is happening over here? Great volume spikes over here, Yao Ming, as what Gavin will always say over here. But remember, after that shakeout over there, nice green bar signaling that price, that the volume over there actually is towards shakeout, and the buyers then came back in and off it goes, right? So remember that you have to coordinate the volume and the price together properly to really understand what's going on. Okay, so that's still on the upside as well. So I think we can carry on, and I'll just stop at the 15 minutes, and then maybe even Gavin can go through the 3 minutes and 2 minutes as well. Again, on the 15 minutes. So really, really strong bullish trend, I would say. Correlating that, the time frames and how you make your strategies is what is critical. Okay, and that's what we'll be going through in the annual summit as well. Some of you already signed up for the online annual summit. Those of you who haven't, I will highly recommend you guys to look at that. Very quickly, I'll look at Ethereum, then I'll pass it over to you, Gavin, and then you can take a look at a few more crypto as well. Okay. And I'll start off with the monthly again. Over here, monthly, what do we have? Let me see. We got, let me do this. If I update that, update to latest version. Let's see, that one should give me the trend box at the end. Let's see if it does that. So over here, what I'm taking a look at over here, let's see. Well, let me put the other one, that one here. Right. So over here, it's saying it's no trend at the moment on Ethereum. Now, the reason for that is if you take a look, the last high came over here, right? And then it came back down over here, bottom got confirmed, and then it did a lower high. Look at that, right? A bit of weakness. So whenever things do like that, so you see there's a lower high over here. Because we got the quantified market structure with the tops and bottoms over here at Master the Markets aligned with volume, you can clearly see what trend it is at any point of time. I'll remove the stats table for now, or maybe I will just remove that. Oh, that's good. So that's better. And let me just, yeah, I'll leave that over there. So that's on a monthly. So it's a lower high at the moment. The question to really ask ourselves is, at this compression here, is this bottom going to hold? And is that going to lift off and take out that high over there to carry on to the upside? So these are the things that we need to be asking ourselves. The clue comes on the lower time frames over here. So let me remove this one here, put the VSA light over there, the relative volume. There we go, much better. So you can see that over here, even from the VSA light perspective, it's still red, not really strong strength yet, even though there is a potential buying over here. Let's analyze that further. Volume is supporting that a little bit more as well. Is that potential buying going to carry on further and turn this trend around? Now, one thing that you got to understand, once you understand market structure and trends and cycles, at the moment, Ethereum is doing this, right, traders? So we got a phase one over here, right? So we got a phase one over here. Now, in that phase one, you can see that that bottom is leveling off. Now, the question to really ask ourselves, before this can turn into an upside towards buying strength, there's only two types of scenario that can happen, right? One is it goes up a little bit, does a test, doesn't take out that low, and then carries on further. And at that point, when it takes out that high, then it's an uptrend. Whereas on the second scenario, if there's really strong strength coming in, it will not even do a test, but it will go up straight all the way and take out that high. Okay, that's when the trend will start to change as well. So these are the two scenarios you've got to be starting to take a look at and be prepared as well. Okay, what's the probabilities for each one to happen, and how do you position yourself with management of stop loss? All these things we'll be going through in the annual summit. Right, so next I will take a look at the daily to see how the trend is. Now you see you're getting a bit of lift off over here. As you can see, this is daily showing an uptrend over here, right? And will that daily time frame strength that is coming in push the higher time frames towards the upside is the question we got to ask ourselves. Okay, from a volume perspective, yes, it's looking healthy. It's got this test and it's held this bottom. But will it sustain in the long run? I think some of the clues we can get it maybe on the lower time frames over here. And then I'll pass it on. We can see a really big volume spike over here as well. And it's still holding that bottom there. Now towards this one here, when that bottom got held, I can see also some volume spikes happening towards the buying side, where that low is what sustained to become the monthly potential bottom as well. So if you take a look over here, if I did that, and if you look on the daily over here, and that would be the monthly, isn't it? The weekly. Let me just put it over here, and then we can analyze it. Then I'll pass it on to Gavin from that point. So you can see that is the one. Look, interesting, isn't it? So you see, look at that low, the potential bottom there, supported by big volume. Look at that. Most people don't know how to understand how to correlate price and volume. They would think, oh no, that's big selling, big volume is supporting it. Let's go short a bit more. And that's where everybody gets slaughtered, right? But then when you combine it like that and see it, you can see that, but the next few bars, look, it did take off from there. Big distribution bar over there, where most of the selling has already happened. Buyer bar after that, bit of selling just to confuse people, and then the big buying came, which tells you that that volume came into for the potential buying and the professional buying to happen, which is also indicated by the PB. Our confirmation came on this bar, so on the close where we will enter, and then you will hold it on if you want to go for the longer term, believing that that monthly bottom, that low over there on Ethereum, right, at 2113.8 will hold itself for the longer term. Okay, that's what we are looking at. Okay, that's your weekly potential bottom. If that holds, then the blue dot will come later on, and then on the monthly as well, that's your potential bottom. And then on the 4-hour, if we go down a bit more, we can then take a look at, let me see where that potential bottom happened. And there you go. You can start seeing all the big volume spikes over here more clearly. And on the lower time frames is where you would see it much more clearly in any case anyway, right? So that's the one over here. Again, supported by big volume spikes over here as well. Then if you go on to the 1 hour, and I'll stop over there and pass it on to Gavin. So over here, if you take a look, probably need to go a bit more back. Let me see. Maybe I should use the replay mode, but let me see. There we go. So we had that as well. Again, you see, look how all the time frames are correlating with that big volume spike, and then it holds, and then it takes on from there. So by correlating the different time frames, of course, you can get earlier entry. That's where the skill comes in. Gavin, I think I'll pass it on to you now. Maybe you can take a look at maybe the other cryptos or the other lower time frames. Over to you.
Right, thank you, Tiro. Let me first of all share my screen so you can all see it. And I'm going to do the entire screen. And we'll go straight to Bitcoin, which you can all see, I'm assuming. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So first and foremost, all the analysis there spot on, as Thierry's favorite word, but it is. And if we look at this, there's quite a few things that I want to play forward as we move forward with Bitcoin. Now, like Thierry, I take a long-term view of Bitcoin, but I had a lot of experience of learning about cryptocurrencies working with Nick Cowan at the Gibraltar Stock Exchange. Some of you will remember some of the videos that we did together. He launched something called the Rock Token, which was a cryptocurrency. And when you start to understand cryptocurrency and you try to get behind it, everyone poo-poos it. That's the right word. They go, "Oh no, it's a fad. It's going to go. It's going to disappear." But it hasn't. And I remember 5 years ago when I was in Gibraltar, and it was all said that now crypto's going to like 2,000, 1,000, then worthless. Well, it hasn't done that. Now, why did I thought I saw a question from Charles, one of our very good customers, asking about the different mechanisms to trade cryptocurrencies, right? You've got Coinbase, you've got the CME, who've just launched a micro coin. You've got all these different mechanisms to trade crypto. Why? Why is the CME group, which used to be the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, launching a futures contract in crypto? Because they're experts. They know the future, and they did it years ago. And when I was actually at the CME many years ago doing an event, it had just started to be talked about, and I was very lucky to be in some of the discussions about that. Now, don't get too involved in what cryptocurrency is. It's a currency, but it resides and it's mined, if you like, but it can be traded just like, you can trade wheat and corn or, pork belly. Now, I was asked by one trader, he said, well, if I went to the futures market and I bought all these pork bellies, and suddenly the contract expired, would they deliver all the pork belly to my door? And of course, that doesn't happen that way. That's not how futures contracts work. So we'll go to this chart, and I'm going to play through to you what happened. Now, this is a weekly chart going back to April, where the weakness began to come in. It was around where I know it's going to go. By the way, I'll predict this, and I'm filming this on the 16th of October 2024. Bitcoin's going to 80,000 in the next 2 months. How can I possibly know that? I use point and figure charting. But it will correct probably first. It won't go straight there, but sometimes it does. But watch what happens here. So I'm using the TradingView program for this particular presentation, but we also use the NinjaTrader Smart Center Pro, which works in other platforms, MT5, MT4, using exactly the same mechanism. But just to keep it simple, the reason I'm using this is in the next couple of weeks, we've got some new things that are coming into this program that we've developed over a number of months, and you'll see them. And you can come to the webinar when we launch it. But we'll start off, first of all, with what we've got. What we've got is PS. Now, what is the PS? It's a red indicator. Okay, so it's red, but the market's going up. So anyone that was going long in Bitcoin here would say, well, actually, it's made another high here. I'll buy some more coin. But that would be a mistake. And we can see it. Yes, this might be in hindsight, but I'm going to show you this on a small time frame. So as we move forward here, we're going to start to see the market collapse and fall. And it does it fairly rapidly. And this is called a gotcha bar. This bar here. Why is it a gotcha bar? It's in my book, Trading in the Shadow of the Smart Money, because it locks out all of the longs. It's a deliberate maneuver. Now, I was asked recently in an interview that I did, so Gavin, you write in your book about market manipulation. What do you think is the most manipulated market in the world? Now, previously, I'd have said gold, because I'm an expert in that area. But now I'd say probably cryptocurrencies, but it's not bad news, because the markets have always been manipulated. And that's because professional smart money know how the herd, the group, work. And in the book that taught me to trade, the man that taught me to trade, the late Tom Williams, unfortunately passed away in 2016, his book, Master the Markets, is a masterpiece. In fact, it's going to be published now by a big publisher. I've just in the process of negotiating that. And it talks all about herd mentality. Now, if we move forward on what happens here, the market locks traders out of a perfectly good position as we move forward. The SMI indicators show that actually we've got support and then resistance at this level. And it's absolutely uncanny when you look at it weekly, how the SMI and the VSA work together. Hence the reason we work very closely with Master the Markets and the team, because if you look at it, it makes complete sense. So we come into the summer period where apparently nothing's going to happen. And then we get to what happened 2 weeks ago. And I'm long. Now, this is going to go to 70,000. This will happen within the next 2 weeks. Then it will move through the old top. Okay, because that is tested. Look at the test. Okay, a test, closing in the middle, next bar closing level, is a strong sign of strength. And the market has responded to it over, well, you can see Bitcoin's gone up from 61 to 67 in a week. So now we break it down, which is what Tiru asked me to do, which I'll do. And we'll go to the daily. There's a confirmed test. This is a setup that I'm programming in as a buy setup into TradingView, which you're going to see. This is something I haven't talked about publicly before, but I will do today because it's going to form part of our system. So Tom Williams, who taught me, said to, because I asked him, why do we have red indicators in uptrends? Why don't you just avoid, just if it's going up, just take out the red indicator? He said, you can't. And I said, why? He said, because the markets are like a snake, or as Tiru says many times, the dance. They don't just go in one direction. If they did, everyone would make money, wouldn't they? Although I have to say the S&P in gold, it's been doing that for a while. But there's an indicator, a setup, which is based on no demand in an uptrend followed by a test within 1 bar. This is it. And then the SMI indicator confirms it, which is why it's going to break out of this. Well, it's breaking out of this old top on Bitcoin. That in itself is a buy indicator once you know the confirmation. But you've got to look at the background. And this is the key to it. When you're programming something into volume spread analysis and indeed SMI, what we don't look at, especially in VSA, we don't look at just 1 bar or 2 bars. We're looking at a rule set, which I've got. And the ones that Tom gave me, which have not been programmed in yet, will be programmed in. And the strongest one is the reversals, the reversal bars, which are not in here yet. They're in Smart Center Pro, but what you need to look at after a reversal is what happens in the next few bars, because that is the key to what everyone seems to want is the Holy Grail. Now, Tiru would agree with me on this. You are the Holy Grail. Right, Tiru? Not me, not you. We're not gurus. We're just traders. The individual.
Absolutely. I think well said. Yeah. The person is the Holy Grail.
You have the ability to do this. And in my 3rd book, Think, Link, Create, which is about to be published, I talk about this. You control your mind, not Tiru, not Gavin, not anyone, not Tom Williams. Books are knowledge. I've got a whole bookshelf. So as Tiru, if you look behind him, whole bookshelf. The only book that's missing off his bookshelf is Master the Markets and Trading in the Shadow. But I'm going to send them copies, so they're right up there. But the point is,
nice.
Yeah, I will definitely do it. Books are knowledge. So now we break it down, and this is where we get down to small time frames right now. So I'm going to go to a 15-minute chart. Okay, and I've just seen a test. Okay, but the reversal bar, which is where the main indicator is these bars here and here, which produce a setup for a short. For a short. And if you look at the 3 bars, you'll see exactly the setup I'm talking about. You've got massive volume on the up move, but look at the range, and then you've got this down bar. Now, the background is the most important. And I'm not going to discuss that publicly because there's something in the background that makes this whole thing set up into what is a sell indicator or a buy indicator. And I'll show you what happened in a stock. And then we'll go back to Tiru to look at the stock. I won't go into more detail on this because Tiru's done a great analysis on Bitcoin. But does it work on a small time frame? Okay, because it's falling. Could you short the futures market in Bitcoin? 1 minute chart. Okay, it's messy, but it does show where the supply came in. And then we look at the volume, which is here, down here, and it mushrooms over. It's a mushroom. And it's trading around now. Well, you can see where it's trading. And there is a very key point to this. Is where did the sellers come in? They came in up here. But when I put it to a 5-minute chart, which is my favorite time frame for coin, we've got the selling. This cannot be argued with because this is live. And does the VSA indicator then show with an SMI indicator, which is using price and volume, that the market here would fall? Well, you look at it. Look at the volume. That is the key. Look at the narrowing of the spreads, and that's a little clue to what we've programmed in. And then look at the SMI indicator here, which is in fact what we would call, we're not looking at the open, but we're looking at what we call the upthrust and the gotcha bar. And look, it's come all the way down to that low. Quite significant in coin. Now, when we're looking at Bitcoin, some of you say, well, I've never traded Bitcoin. This is completely irrelevant, Gavin. I don't trade this. But what you've got to understand is the principles that are on this chart, which you can see clearly. There's no argument, I hope. And I'm an ex-policeman, as many of you know. And when I'm giving evidence to a jury, I would be saying, this is the evidence. And people would say, the defense would say, well, no, that can't be true. But that's definitely fell. And that's definitely a sign of weakness. And that's definitely an upthrust. And that's definitely an SMI indicator that's got confirmed. And Tiru can talk about that. But I just want to go to one thing that happened yesterday. And then I'll go back to Tiru to explain it. So I'm going to go to a stock chart. And I'm going to go to a stock chart of ARM. I did a YouTube video on this. And yesterday was a great short and in my Detective Holmes webinars that I do. I did one yesterday. There was a great short on ARM. Most people saw it. And ARM is a chip manufacturer. Okay. So is NVIDIA. But I want to show you what happened on a bigger time frame and why ARM went up based on a shakeout. And we're going to show it down. Now, if I bring this up here, make it bigger, let's just make that bigger. Here, and we'll go to this right edge here. And then you can see it. I'm just trying to put it central. Now here you can see this massive volume on earnings that came out. It was positive earnings report. This is where most retail traders lose money. Because the news is particularly good, as you can see. But we get a fall in price on the news. So it goes up on very high volume. The news is bullish. It's looking like it's rallying. The buyers that are the retail traders step in and bang, professionals mark it down to the old area of support and they shake the market out. But yesterday, what was more interesting was what happened on the smaller time frame. We got exactly the same thing. Look at the volume. That's your key. If you don't believe in volume spread analysis or smart money indication, look at this. It's all here. And once you bring it up, and let me just move to the right edge of the chart because I want to show you the background as well. To there we go. There is the buying coming in because the price fell and the NASDAQ fell. The buyers stepped in and then the professionals tested it. But then it went back straight the way up and then straight back down. And one of the things that's very key to all of that, as I'll show you, and I'll just move that out a little bit, there we go, is the no demand bar. You had an opposite thing happen. You had the no demand followed by a test. It rallied for an hour. So, and then if you clear into the NASDAQ, which is live now, 5-minute chart. I'm going to put up the hourly because it was more obvious. Let's just reset that. Look at this bar here. That's the collapse because of the chip manufacturers being told, and it was all to do with news, that they're going to restrict certain things in the chip manufacturers. But the bit that I want you to look at is not this bar, it's what happened up here. That's what we've programmed in, which is the setup. And it's not just based on 2 bars, I can tell you. It's based on many more bars in the background. And what we see is if the SMI indicator, which it did, confirmed it, and then it moves over sideways, and then we get the confirmation bar, and it happened again here, you have got a system that is close to a buy-sell signal system as that I've ever seen. And I was talking to Tiru earlier today about the automation, AR, you've got artificial intelligence all over the place. Could the financial markets have AI built into it where it just looks at all the different things in the past and triggers a trade based on information that it's learned? No idea. It's the truth. No idea. AI is very good at doing lots of things. I went to ChatGPT or something, whatever it's called. I typed in volume spread analysis, came up with all the information. Amazing. AI is definitely here to stay. There's no doubt about that. And computers are definitely going to be able to start to read things. But keep in mind this very important point. And then I'll let Tiru have a look at the stocks potentially that I think are going to move. But because we are talking about cryptocurrency, and we could talk about crypto all day, but I know most of you don't trade it, but we still had to show it. But artificial intelligence in trading is possible, but there is something we must always remember about the markets. Past price is no guarantee of future success. We say it all the time. We make statements about, oh, we made X amount last month. We made X amount 3 months ago. Blah, blah. We can do all of those things. Past price is not guarantee of future success. How many hedge funds do you know that had a great 3 or 4 years and then went bust? There's many. And the other thing is, there's many that continue to go. They have algorithms built in that recognize market structure, and the markets move in phases. Okay, which is what Wyckoff told us. Accumulation, which is buying. Distribution, which is selling. Reaccumulation, which is coming back down to buy a bit more at the lower price. Or redistribution, where they mark it up and sell it. And in the course that I'm doing with Tiru, I have taken and dissected Wyckoff's book and Tom's book. Now, Master the Markets, I'm going to give all of you a copy of this. Whether you're watching this on, many of you are on YouTube right now, watching. Okay, I can see that. And many of you, not so many, obviously coming on the stream that we're doing here through. Well, let me just finish thought. Sorry, emails coming in. It's the book that changed my life and many, and it's called Master the Markets. Funnily enough, as Thierry will confirm, his company is called Master the Markets. He didn't copy the name. It's just a coincidence. But what I was looking at last night as I was thinking about doing this event with Tiru was, let me reread some of this. And so I'm going to dissect it in the event that we're doing online. And, you know, we're hoping to be in Tenerife as well. That's still on the cards. But I want to talk about this. Section 1, which is going to be part of the course, which goes through the basic concepts of markets, which many people don't seem to understand. So you've got random walks and other misconceptions. What is the market? The market professionals, a special word about market makers. No one talks about them. I've met several of them, so I know a lot about that. Volume, understanding volume. Remember, Tiru and I teach volume. Smart money indicator is volume and price action combined. Volume spread analysis adds a different dimension to it. It looks at the spread and the background. And then all of these things that are in Tom's book, I'm going to build into a course, because that has never been done. That's never been done. And I've spent the last 6 weeks, having finished my 3rd book, working on this. And some of the things that are really common that people don't understand, which Tiru and I know are very good at, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet or his, we know this, the basics of market reading. This is what we will teach. We'll go through the basics, the advanced stuff, and this book will be the basis of live charts and live trading, which we're going to do. With that being said, I finish off with a chart of the Aussie dollar, in which I shorted, and many of you saw this on YouTube, so you asked me about it. What was the basis? Okay. Now, it's quite clear it was there, followed by there and there. And it was all on YouTube. So there's no argument that the timing was right, because the buyers stepped in and then the sellers took over. And if you get selling followed by no demand, and the change in the behavior, which is demonstrated here on the hourly chart by the dots, this is going down. And I put this on TradingView, of which I've got a big following now. And in fact, Tiru might be able to give us an analysis on the Aussie USD, because this is going to move even further. And if you want to make money in the markets, you have to look at the evidence. And the evidence is on the price bars, what they do, effort versus result. If the effort is in the volume and the spread's narrow, and you get an SMI indicator saying that's not going up, that's not going up, that's not going up because the test failed, what's the chances of making money? Very high. So, Tiru, I'll hand back to you, but just the thoughts on the structure of our course. I'm thinking, obviously, some of my third book, and I'm going to send every one of you a copy of the first chapter, if you're listening in, of the book, the first chapter. It's not published yet. It will be. It's going into about 200 different bookstores. But if you want a copy of that first chapter, just to read it and get a feeling of what where I'm coming from, and Tiru and I are on the same page, just email my wife, Laura, Laura, at tradeguider.com, and just put chapter 1 book. And she'll send you not Master the Markets, the full copy, if you haven't got it, but chapter 1 of Think, Link, Create. And if you want to find out a bit more about that, which is absolutely up to you, you just go to www.thinklink. You can go to the .com, or you can go to the .co.uk. It doesn't matter. You can't buy the course at the moment because it's completely changed. But this is a book that I've worked on for 14, 15 years. And I know Tiru's read most of it. I'm not sure he's read all of it. But this is the core essence of what we are as human beings, is understanding that, yeah, we're here to make money. Of course, we want to make money. But if you can't understand your own belief system behind what you're trying to achieve, then you will struggle. Tiru, over to you.
Great. That was really good that you mentioned about that, which is if you can't manage your belief system, then you can't really, I mean, not only trading, isn't it? You can't really manage anything really, to be honest. Right. It's fundamental core. I totally believe in that because that's how my life also orchestrated in such a way for us to understand that. Now, let me just share the screen. Let me see. I'll share the screen 1 at the moment. So yeah, that should be fine. I think you guys should be able to see this, right? Can you all see that on the TradingView charts? Okay, good. So I got some few questions as well. So I will handle them one by one. Then Gavin can also answer some of them. Right. First thing is, I think we'll go on to the Aussie dollar. Then Nikhil, I got your thing on the Metis, right? USD tether. So I'll definitely take a look at that as well. Let's quickly take a look at Aussie dollar. Let's see what's going on. I'm talking on NinjaTrader later as well, showing both the methodologies, price and volume. I'm going to be taking a look at a simple multiple time frame strategy. So you guys can join us there on our YouTube channel as well. As I just remember that's our YouTube channel. You guys can subscribe, youtube.com/Master the Market. So anytime we go live, you'll get notification. The same thing for Gavin's channel, Trade Guider as well. youtube.com/Trade Guider. You can see we are live at the moment. So going back to here on the Aussie dollar here, right. So usually, I mean, there's a couple of ways you can actually structure yourself. But as of now, this one here, let me just put the MTM one so that we get the trend box on there as well. as of now, traders, this Aussie dollar at the moment, this is in a uptrend phase 2, okay, on the daily time frame, okay. So that's in a counter trend against the trend. But of course, if the trend sustains and does not take out this low at 0.6600, then the bottom can level off and the blue dot will appear. The formulas then confirm. And which of those levels of bottom do we think will level off with a higher potential? Is the clue comes with combining with the volume and the VSA methodology. Okay. If I take a look on the higher time frames, let me see if it's still all uptrend at the moment. Yes, it's a strong uptrend as well. Monthly, so monthly it's still uptrend phase 1. It just took out that high over there, right? It just took that out. This is a little bit of profit taking happening at the moment, right? Which is the retracement. Now, saying all of that, even though in the trend and all of that, some people will always ask me is, Theo, does that means I got to wait until this retracement finishes, then I can take a trade? Of course not. I mean, that's to do with your strategy construction, right? So if you start to believe that there is some selling going to happen and that top is going to confirm, then of course on the lower time frames that will look like a downtrend, is it not? This whole part here, the 3 seller bars, you can start to take a short on the lower time frames. But however, always remembering that even if you were to take a short on this, on the lower time frames, always remember that on the weekly, it is still an uptrend phase 1. Even if it did a phase 2, the shorts won't remain for very long if they turn back into the trend again and into a phase 1. So you just got to be wary of that. That's why cycles and trends and phases is very important. And to do that very objectively is what you need. Market structure is what we have created over here. Market structure basically means your tops and bottoms quantified so that everybody over here, even 1 million people looking at it, will all say that, you know what, I connect all the bottoms and the tops together according to your structure. I'm not saying this is the holy grail, but it's a structure, it's a framework. And then from there, you can get your trends and phases and the 3 stats that we always talk about. Okay, right. So over here on the daily, again, that's a phase 2 as well, right? Will that carry on? The main critical level, if this trend is to change, is this one here. That's when the structure gets broken, 6620, okay? That's what we're going to be careful of. In terms of the 4-hour, as I said, right, that will already show you a downtrend. Because why? As I said, in the higher time frames, that phase 2 on the daily and the weekly, right? On the daily, that's the phase 2. That phase 2 is what is looking as a downtrend here on the 4-hour. Okay, so we can keep taking the shots on a lower time frame if your strategy is based on that. And then, of course, just be careful that it will level off at some time. The trend sustains on the higher time frame and turns into a phase 1. Okay, so you just got to be careful of that. I'll just go to one more time frame over here on the 1 hour. Actually, I'll go back to the 4-hour. I just want to see how extended that thing is. We did some research on this as well. We'll be talking about this on the annual summit, which is, if you take a look on the number of bottoms that is done at the moment, you and I will agree that nothing can keep going also in a sustained trend forever, isn't it? Unless it's a stock that's going to go bankrupt or whatever. But in currencies, you can't really get them to zero because there are countries' economy and finances behind them. So think about this, right? So especially currencies where they can't go to zero whatsoever. I mean, you guys, I mean, think about this. In scenario 1, where there's about 7 bottoms or whatsoever. And in scenario 2, where it's just in a downtrend, where there's just only 2 bottoms, which has got a higher chance of turning its trend around? Is it number 1 or is it number 2? Which one will reverse and change its trend? Right. I think as most of you always will say, and as I can see the answers coming in, you can see that number 1 usually will turn around, isn't it? Right? Because so many bottoms leveling off, and then eventually the trend will change. Now, one of the questions on, very good, Charles, you're following my train of thought, is that we did some research on this in terms of how many bottoms will this have? What's the highest probability of the number of bottoms before it changes its trend? Now, some of you, if you understand where I'm going with, and Charles probably understanding me on this, you get excited on the answer for this research, because then you can really position really longer term, bigger, longer term trades, but by capturing on a lower time frame combined with volume. Now that's powerful. That will blow your mind. It's quite hard to explain over here. We'll show you all the stats and everything. It'll take me another good 1-2 hours. That's why we're keeping it all for the annual summit, where me and Gavin will be talking all about that, right? So that's one of the 5 research updates that we'll be sharing with you, okay? After how many bottoms or tops will there be a complete trend reversal? That's also very important for the equity side as well, you know, for the indexes, right? For the Dow and everything, which seems to be going up forever. So those are things that we'll be looking at. But in terms of the 4 hour, there's about 2 bottoms. I think there's still a bit more move left to the downside over here. And on the 1 hour, you can see over here, it's a bit of leveling off, but I still believe that, I mean, if you look at it in terms of a trend and everything, VSA light is showing towards the red, and our downtrend market structure as well, supported with volume. There's still a little bit more downside move, but just be aware, as I've already said, on the higher time frames, it's still an uptrend. You're trading a phase 2 move. Just be careful of that before it snaps back into the phase 1. I would say there's still a good 1 or 2 weeks more on the downside for intraday setups. So that's on the Aussie dollar in terms of correlating with the market structure and everything. The other one, Nikhil, you were asking about Metis, right? So finally we come to that. I'm just aware of time as well. Metis, so you're asking about Metis, Tether. So let's take a look at that. Don't really have much data on. I'm using Binance. So on monthly, I think there's only about, it's only giving me about 5 bars only on here. But even looking at that, just look, I'm only looking at only one part of the cycle, so I don't have much data on here. I don't know why. But on Metis, you see over here that on the weekly at least, if I take a look, the first thing I'm seeing over here is, if you guys can observe, as of this week's bar, it was a downtrend all the way, right? If I turn this into a line diagram, just connect the blue and the orange arrows, right? It was all a downtrend so far until this point, where, right? And then we got a test over here, you see? This thing keeps happening. Me and Gavin, we always talk to you guys about the importance of this pattern. I'll talk about this on NinjaTrader as well. If you look at this, this is a very powerful pattern, this test, right? Where this bottom gets held. And if you do some more investigation with the volume and it supports it, now those are the bigger runners for you, okay? Now, those of you who need a bit more confirmation also, then you can also, what you can start to take a look also is, once you got a lift off like that, you can also then start to wait for this neck to be broken, okay? Because this is a reference high, isn't it, traders? Yeah. So once that reference high is taken out, then it will turn into an uptrend, which is what it just did by these 2 bars. It did take that out, a bit of shakeout over there, and then this week it is going out strong, okay? At the moment, it's looking high towards the upside. On the daily, I will double check that as well. As you can see, the little retracement that it had, I've marked out 25.20. That was your monthly potential bottom, and then your weekly confirmed bottom that happened. And then after that, we had a test over here, a bit of consolidation. It still takes off into an uptrend, and then a little bit of down. This was the 3 red bars over here that you saw on the weekly, right? If you take a look, that part where I on the daily, what you're seeing, you see this 3 red bars is what is showing as the consolidated downward move, okay? Which is what you're seeing over here, okay? Which is what you're seeing here. And look what I've told you all before, it keeps repeating, isn't it? Whenever the downside has got very small movements, you see very small swings. What that means is, on the selling side, there's not much strength. right? So the higher time frames in terms of his professional buying, which came in at 25.20, will highly probably sustain that bottom, and this will turn around. Okay, and then of course, as you can see, when you can interpret the price as well properly, you can also see that volume is confirming all of that. Look at all that volume spikes that is happening around here. Okay, that's how we can see the support. And then where the SMI came to confirm, look at the big volume spike over here, which already started to show. And then of course you can do that on the lower time frames as well, and you can start to observe that. I'll just go on the 4 hour. I'm just wary of time, just don't want to be taking up too much time over here. So on the 4 hour, you can see over here, when did that actually come into play? That was your potential bottom there. You see that. Just need to move that up. Right. Can we, yeah. So, and I wish there was an easier way of auto-adjusting it. If some of you had found it, do let us know. Some of you were saying that as well as a limitation of TradingView. There you go. So you can see that when this came in over here, the Yao Mian volume bar started to shoot up, right? And when you correlated the monthly and the weekly and the daily, then you might start to ask yourself, the real question to ask yourself is, this volume that is spiking up, right, will that bottom hold on the 4 hour to finally become a daily bottom, according to our market structure, which we have programmed over here, which is the daily blue dot, right? Can you get the daily blue dot, then followed by the weekly blue dot, and so on and so forth. Okay, that's what you got to ask yourself. The good part is once you got market structure, which won't be quantified with the SMI, then a bit more simpler to know that you're going on the right track based on cycles and phases. And why does this keep repeating? Because it's the nature of how markets move. As me and Gavin will always say, markets can never move in a straight line. Doesn't matter what instrument it is. That's why we're so confident on looking at any instrument, whether it's ETFs, bonds, commodities, crypto, it doesn't matter. Once you know the structure and the principles, they will keep repeating. That's what me and Gavin, we keep showing you through all our live trading week webinars and the different programs that we have as well to develop your confidence on all of this. So as you can see, the volume spike over there, I did hold that bottom. Those of you who want a bit more confirmation, again, you see, look at that. It repeats itself, right? Look for the test. The bottom held, confirmation here. That's your first clue to go up with confirmation from the volume. Okay, if you want to hold it for the longer run, that's one type of strategy that you can start to take a look at. Well, most of the big guys, I mean, Gavin would agree as well. They usually look at, taking trades on a lower time frame, but holding it on to the higher time frames. And because why they do that? Because when you can align all the time frames together, your trade risk is very small, because you're looking at lower time frames to see whether the bottom will hold or not. With the combination and correlation of the higher time frames, which I've shown you here, then when you ride it for bigger moves on the higher time frame, then of course think about it, right? You got a very low risk, very small risk, with a huge potential return. Okay, that's what we're all looking to do. Okay, and I always really strongly believe in doing less and achieving more, rather than becoming a crazy high frequency trader and then this becoming like another job where you're stuck to the screens. Okay, that's my opinion, but I think some of you might have your own opinions where maybe you might like to trade a lot more. That's totally fine, but you can construct any kind of strategy based on this frameworks. Okay, I think that's all the time we got, actually, Gavin. I think I've looked at some of the questions over here as well. Anything you want to add?
Well, I just think that we're going to be doing this 2-day course, which is going to be online as well, which we've decided to do it because of the people in America and Canada who said, well, it's a bit close to Thanksgiving.
Correct.
We can't travel, so could you broadcast it? We've decided to do that. I think that's a great move, and I'm very happy with that. You can give the details in a second. What's going to be different about the course, though? That's the thing for many of our customers. Well, first of all, we've got TradeGuider is launching new software in the next couple of weeks. That will be part of the course. Okay, and it's going to be initially in TradingView and then into NinjaTrader, and then we'll roll it out into MT4 and MT5. These are new indicators. They're things that have not been shown before. And I'm very excited. We'll preview it, so you'll all see it anyway. But the most important part of the course is it doesn't just involve charting. That's part of it, of course. But it's about performance. It's about, you and I have both studied. When I went to Tony Robbins conferences many years ago, and when I wrote my third book, which I'll send everybody, if you want it, you can email Laura at tradeguider.com. She'll send you chapter 1. It's now it's 10 chapters. There's an 11th that I'm still finishing, but the publisher is pressing me to get it, done like today. So when I finish here, that's probably what I'm going to do after I've spoken with Glenn. But the bottom line is, trading is a vocation. It's like, if you want to become a police officer, right, which I was, it took 2 years of being a probationer to get to the place where you understood just a small part of the law. Then you had to go to a court and present your case to a jury. And then you'd be cross-examined by someone who was a skeptic, the defense, who'd say, no, that's complete rubbish. That you didn't do that, and that wasn't there. In trading, it's very similar. I know there's a lot of competition in this industry for, it's easy, it's simple. And, if you buy this and you come to this summit, you'll be a millionaire next week. I can tell you, you will not. Okay, we're not going to make that promise. What I can say is the knowledge that Tiru and I have got, combined with all the other knowledge that I had from working with the likes of David Weiss, Tom Williams, Professor Hank Pruden, and Tiru's worked with some great masters as well. We've combined it into something that is, I believe, the most comprehensive thing I've ever done. But I will be focusing very much on my part of the presentation, day one, on Tom Williams's book, Master the Markets, because it links in beautifully with what Tiru's company is, Master the Markets. And if you want to look at part of that, as I said, it's very straightforward. Master the Markets is a book that Tom wrote many, many years ago. It got adapted, and it will form the majority of what I'm going to talk about on day one, talking about market structure, market makers, how the smart money operate. I've talked to many people in banks. I'll tell you exactly how the markets work, and I'll show you why you get tricked. That's what I will show you. And then I'll show you what Tom taught me, how you avoid the traps. And in the new software, we have got something called the trap up move programmed in. So it's initially in TradingView, then it's going into Ninja, then MT5, MT4. But it's a very clear indicator that you're being locked into a bad upward move. And at the bottom, we call them shakeouts. Same thing, they're just reversed. You took a chart of VSA and SMI, and it's going up, and then you turned it upside down, you see the opposite principles with different names. It's very simple if you understand it. And, I've been doing this 24 years. And I know that we've got the key to the truth, which is what Tiru has said. Master the Markets, Trade Guider, we are the truth of trading. Some people don't believe it, fine. But we're getting so much traction at the moment on different places that I believe that we've cracked it. Tiru, with that, I'm going to say thank you, everyone. Back over to you. Talk about what we're going to talk about in November, because this is going to be big, the best summit I've ever done based on the content that we've put together.
Absolutely, Gavin. And yeah, we're quite excited towards that. Some of you already have registered. Quite a few of the tickets have already gone. We've introduced the online tickets because some of you said because of the time of the year as well, you can't really travel that much and all that. So that's why we extended the online tickets as well. So you guys can definitely get that. Now, what are we going to be doing over there? We're going to be sharing our latest research updates. And as Gavin already said, they're also releasing new software with automated trading. along with combination with our SMI as well, which will be showing it to you over there as well. And you can see over here, I mean, why did we actually think of this annual summit actually to do? And the reason for that is so that like-minded people like us can come and brainstorm and mastermind on a group basis on how to make our systems more robust and sustainable, scalable, and reproducible, right? There is nothing that cannot be solved when you got the greatest minds all together in one place, is it not, traders, right? And some of the clients that we got, me and Gavin, I mean, they themselves actually inspire us. In fact, what you're seeing, in fact, on TradingView, all the VSA Lite and the Smart Money Indicator and all of that, this was put together by our own clients. This is when you know that a product is really working, when the community itself uplifts itself, isn't it? I think that's where I think we've talked about here as well, where true case research projects and trader challenges, right? Some of them really great stories, and there'll be a small section where we'll be talking about some inspiring stories where the clients themselves were just like you and have today now come up to a long way and will inspire you as well on what you can do, even though you may have a very big, busy lifestyle and all that. That was the main reason for doing the annual summit over here. Now, then you can read on over here. I mean, what are the main challenges? You know, why you have to join it? 6 reasons you must join. The research updates, and we'll be publishing some of them. We'll give you a clue. I gave some of the idea framework just now as well. Charles was really very sharp in catching up with that. Have you done the research on a number of bottoms it does before it turns into a different trend? I mean, those are one of the 5 updates we'll be sharing with you guys as well. And then also we're looking at live markets because we're doing it on Friday and Saturday. And then there will be small exercises that you guys will be doing. So really, really great chance over here. Then you can see the different us as well, different bonuses if you want to join us live as well. I think Glenn just got to put that in, Glenn, when you're joining in live. And then after that, yeah, you got the different prices over here, in person and virtual. You can take a look at that. It's a small discount code as well that you guys can use before they run out. Okay, I think that's pretty much on the annual summit what we got. Any other final words, Gavin, before we have a wrap up and then close?
No, I'm fine. I just want to say, I want to add one thing, that one of the sessions that I'll be doing is based on belief. And I'm going to quote from 2 of Tom's customers who wrote emails to him and then met him. And nice. I know you're big on this. You know, I don't want this to put people off, but when you're trading and investing or living your life, what happens is you come across obstacles. They're always there. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't know anyone that hasn't had them. There's always an obstacle. How you use your inner thoughts and your inner voice to deal with those obstacles, especially in trading, is most definitely the key to the most successful people I've met, including yourself, Thierry, because I know you're a big believer in this. And it doesn't mean you're always going to be right. Okay, you in fact, sometimes the inner voice sends you in a complete wrong direction. But that is now proven scientifically to be correctable, especially in trading. And there's not many, I don't think I know any of traders that I've seen that talk about, we've talked about supply and demand, cause and effect, effort versus result. But the law of attraction is part of life. It's everyone is energy. And especially if you're going to trade and you're going to get in the right moment, and it is the moment like we're in now, you have to understand your thoughts, your processes. And I think that's what this course is going to be partially about. Not all of it, don't get me wrong. If you're someone who says that's all, you know, rubbish, please open your mind. Your mind is like a parachute, as I found out. As an ex-police officer, I was very programmed into, oh, this has to be the way. There's no other way. You've got to do it that way. I can assure you that's not true. You've got to open your mind. And what happens then? Information flows. It comes in, you process it, and then all of a sudden, a miracle happens. That's all I can call it. Something happens that's a miracle. And you say, people call it the aha moment. Mm-hmm. This conference will give you that. I promise that. I promise that. I've been doing this many years. Many of you know me. I don't get it always right. Tiru doesn't get it always right, but we're not trying to. Because if you're right all the time, we wouldn't have to do these broadcasts because we'd just be sitting there making millions. But actually, the truth is the way you make the millions, which we're well on our way to, is you help others. And that's what Tom taught me. And he was a very wealthy man. And he said, Gavin, the reason I said, why don't you just retire? Why don't you, you're 80. When I met him, he was 72, I think. I said, well, you've got all this money, just retire. He said, I'm not going to retire. I'm here to help. I want to give back to the community of traders and people that don't know. And then hopefully when I pass away, which he did, I leave a legacy. That is what he did. And God bless him. Tiru, we're going to have a great show. Back over to you.
Awesome, Gavin. I think with that, I think we can do a nice wrap up. Really nice points that you just said over there, isn't it? I mean, if you've been given a gift and you've been given great knowledge, it's only fair that you share with others and serve the other communities out there. That's what we keep telling ourselves, to keep giving you the truth and keep going on this path to giving you the best of that trading systems and knowledge that we have found so as to help you create sustainable, scalable, reproducible strategies. Traders, I believe that's a wrap for today. Check out the annual summit. It will also be in your emails as well. Or if you want to get into our weekly newsletters and everything, I would say highly recommend you guys to watch 7 Steps to CTP.com first. And then you can also keep in touch with all our email updates and everything. All right, traders, I think that's pretty much that as a wrap for today. And as we always say, till the next time, stay disciplined, follow your trading plan, and keep trading like a master. Thank you and bye for now.